All right, let's jump right into it. Today, we're diving into this to look at how Xcode 27 is literally transforming the entire app lifecycle. To keep things grounded, we'll be following a conceptual paper airplanes app as our thematic flight path, navigating everything from those earliest messy prototyping stages all the way through to post-launch diagnostics. Now, if you've been developing for a while, you already know the app lifecycle usually comes with a ton of built-in friction, right? Wrestling with project setup, digging through obscure performance bugs, manually managing translation files, it can be a grind. While this update is entirely focused on stripping that friction away. Whether you're just spinning up a fresh project or tuning up a massive legacy application, Xcode 27 is packed with powerful new features designed specifically to keep your development process soaring right past those old bottlenecks. Let's get into it.
Here is our flight manifest for today. We're going to speed through workspace and fast prototyping, supercharged coding agents, unified device hub testing, organizer and post-launch diagnostics, and finally, instruments and Xcode Cloud.
Starting off with Section 1, Workspace and Fast Prototyping. So, we're prepping for takeoff, and the first thing you'll notice is just how much control you now have over your core development environment. The toolbar is completely revamped and fully customizable, and it puts the new coding agent entry point right dead center where you need it. Plus, over in the Appearance panel, you can use these new sliders to fine-tune text and background intensity, which means you can create these incredibly vibrant gradients in dark mode. You can even assign themes on a per-project basis. So, say you use a cool blue tone theme like Neon Noir specifically for our Paper Airplanes app. Well, now you instantly recognize it when you're juggling a dozen different windows. But honestly, my favorite part? The new frictionless, untitled projects. We all know the pain of creating a massive directory structure just to test out one tiny Swift snippet. Now, you can just open a standalone file, test your ideas in a total blank canvas with full preview support, and keep your creative momentum rolling.
This also brings a massive change to how editing actually feels day to day. You know how it used to be, you're just trying to get a thought down, and the compiler is practically screaming at you with loud blinking red warnings, completely breaking your focus. Yeah, the new predictive inline issues solve that. They use a subtle background that blends perfectly into your custom theme. It entirely shifts the vibe. You can just focus on typing out your logic without feeling like you're doing something wrong. The interface only upgrades to those full intensity warning colors when you intentionally hit build. It sounds like a minor tweak, but it drastically reduces your cognitive load, keeping you in that elusive flow state for so much longer.
Moving right along to Section 2, Supercharged Coding Agents.
Okay, this is a real game changer. Agent conversations no longer float in some disconnected, separate window. They live right inside your editor pane. But the absolutely crucial point here is how you initiate complex tasks. When you type the -plan command, the agent actually stops and thinks. It gathers all the necessary project context, and get this, it can even spin up subagents to work in parallel. One subagent can be verifying dependencies while another drafts the actual logic, all before it touches a single line of your code. You review the proposed plan, give inline feedback, and then it implements the changes. And it does this by giving you a beautiful side-by-side artifact diff showing exactly what is changing. It keeps you firmly in the driver's seat and entirely avoids that dreaded AI black box problem where you're left wondering what the agent just broke in your codebase.
There was this great quote from WWDC that really hit the nail on the head. Everybody wins when you localize your app because you can reach more people in more languages. Absolutely true. But let's be real. Any developer knows that manually managing those localization strings is a tedious nightmare. Well, to take our Paper Airplanes app global, the new Xcode agent can automatically analyze the code, build the string catalog, and generate translations in efficient batches. Imagine batch generating your app into Spanish or simplified Chinese overnight. It opens up entirely new revenue streams for indie developers with almost zero extra effort. You just click Generate Translations, leverage the full context of your project to make sure the nuance is right, and watch that catalog flawlessly fill itself in.
All right, Section 3, Unified Device Hub Testing. Remember the days of a desk completely covered in tangled lightning cables, precariously balanced iPads, and just a mess of scattered simulator windows? The new Device Hub vaporizes all of that. It consolidates everything into one unified window right on your Mac. Software simulators, physically paired devices, the whole shebang. It is genuinely magical to control an iPad Pro sitting across the room directly from your Mac's screen. From this one hub, you have quick access to thoroughly evaluate your app. You can instantly toggle high contrast modes, tweak dynamic type sizes, or test out the new iPhone mirroring resized aspect ratios. It ensures your Swift UI layouts respond perfectly to every single form factor, and you never have to untangle a single cable to do it.
But here's the thing. What actually happens after your app takes flight?
Shipping to the App Store is thrilling, for sure, but we all know it's not the finish line. It's the starting line. Once real users get their hands on your work in the wild, that is when the real test begins. Which brings us perfectly to Section 4, Organizer and Post-Launch Diagnostics.
The Organizer has gotten a massive overhaul. It finally puts diagnostics and performance metrics on the exact same screen. So if you see a sudden, terrifying spike in a chart, the underlying diagnostics are sitting right there to explain it to you. It tracks everything. There's a new storage metric, an updated hitches metric catching choppy animations in liquid glass and Swift UI, and this brilliant new feature for metric goals. It actually calibrates realistic baselines based on apps functionally similar to yours. Because obviously a heavy 3D game shouldn't be held to the same battery baseline as a simple text-based to-do app. Plus, if you encounter a deeply complex hang, the Generate Recommendations feature lets an agent analyze the data patterns and actually guide you toward a targeted fix.
Let's zoom in on that new storage metric for a second because it is absolutely critical. It breaks down exactly what is consuming space on your user's device, categorizing it by documents, data, and the actual binary size. Why does this matter? Because phone storage is highly contested real estate. If a user is trying to take a 4K video of their dog and they get a storage full error, they are going to immediately hunt down bloated apps and delete them. Keeping your app's footprint small isn't just a nice-to-have coding practice. It is a matter of absolute survival for your app.
Let's look at the real-world impact of having that exact storage data. For our Paper Airplanes app, the devs noticed in the Organizer that version 1.0 was shipping with a massive, bloated binary size. Armed with those direct insights, they quickly realized they were shipping completely uncompressed image assets. Whoops! By just running those assets through a basic compression pass, version 1.01 saw a massive payload reduction. That directly resulted in much faster download times on cellular data. Users felt that snappy installation improvement immediately, and it kept the apps safe from the deletion chopping block.
Finally, Section 5, Instruments and Xcode Cloud.
But what if your problem isn't storage? What if it's performance? Tracking down why an app feels slow can feel like you're doing intense detective work. And honestly, in the past, opening Instruments felt like you needed a PhD just to read the UI. Well, not anymore. In Xcode 27, Instruments introduces a feature called Top Functions. It completely eliminates the guesswork. Instead of spending hours manually scrolling through dense stack traces, Top Functions acts like a giant neon sign pointing directly at your bottlenecks. For the Paper Airplanes app, which was suffering from mysterious, choppy animations and terrible battery drain, Top Functions pointed straight to a specific paper physics loop that was causing major engine trouble.
So using Quick Open, you jump from that macro organizer view straight into the microcode view for that paper physics function, and the problem becomes instantly obvious. We've literally all been there, accidentally leaving in a rogue print statement or a forgotten infinite loop. In this case, some leftover debugging code was iterating the physics simulation way too many times per frame. By simply changing that loop back to exactly 5 iterations, which was all the animation actually needed, the hitch was gone. The app instantly became fluid again, saving battery life and totally rescuing the app's performance rating. Of course, every time you fix something, there is that terrifying chance you just broke something else, right? That's exactly why we rely on Xcode Cloud's automated workflows to ensure our paper physics fix doesn't introduce new regressions. Once you push your fix to the repo, Xcode Cloud takes over. Instead of tying up your local Max fan for 20 minutes running parallel UI tests, the cloud handles building and testing across 15 different simulated devices all at once. You can literally go grab a coffee while it verifies the build and auto-deploys to test flight. It's an automated safety net, protecting your users from unexpected turbulence on every single commit. So, from that very first frictionless blank canvas using agentic prototyping, to globally localizing your interface overnight, and finally deploying a cloud-tested, performance-optimized build, Xcode 27 genuinely just handles the heavy lifting. It gets the friction out of your way so you can focus entirely on creativity and logic. It's been an incredible journey exploring this lifecycle today. So, I want to leave you with this. With all of these old barriers completely removed and these incredibly powerful tools sitting right at your fingertips, what special app are you going to build next?